Hi there! Today we're going to make this guy. Is he cute or what? We are actually going to be making it in green though. So the yarn that I'm using is Bernat Baby Blanket for the white. And I'm using regular Bernat Blanket. The green is called Deep Sea. Not sure why Deep Sea is green, but I haven't been to the Deep Sea myself. This one is called Twilight, in case you wanted to know. And this one is called Crimson, and that's also in the Bernat Blanket. So, and then we're going to use green safety eyes. They have the little green on the back, so they look like that. And you'll need scissors, your yarn needle. The hook is a size I or a 9, and it's the 5.5 millimeter. You can see that, maybe. And some stuffing. Oh, and a little bit of black yarn. Pretty much, it's just for the stitching. So whatever you have, hopefully you have something on hand that's black. I have a little piece here. You're only going to need a piece about, oh, maybe 10 inches long. So we'll just cut that. Working from the cap, top of the cap down. The pattern's in the description. And, or you can just follow along. And then we're going to do, you need to start with a ring. So let me back up a second. And make this, I get ahead of myself. We're going to do a slip knot. So I just do it this way, make a loop and pull that through. And then you can tighten it by pulling one way and then loosen it by pulling the other way. So you can play with it a little bit. And then you're going to do a ring. You can do a magic ring, or you can do it this way. You can do 4 chains. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to go to that first chain on your hook, or on the first chain that you made, yeah, from the hook. And then you're just going to poke it through, pull the yarn through that one, and then pull it through the other one that's on your hook. And so what you have is a little ring there, a little donut with a hole in it. And so in that hole, you are going to do 6 single crochet. I'm just going to be making a little circle of single crochets. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, there's my ring. And the 6th one. Okay, something else that you need is a stitch marker. I don't usually start with a stitch marker yet. I'm going to put it in the next round. So the round 2, we're going to need 6 increase. And so all that is 2 single crochets in each stitch. We did 6 on our first round. And so if we put 2 in each one, we're going to have 12 stitches total. So it's kind of fun trying to find the stitches with this yarn, but it's pretty forgiving. So if you make a mistake, it's still, you know, depends on how egregious the mistake is, but you should be all right. So we are going to look for the stitch. So I just count back from my hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right there is my first stitch. And so I'm going to go into the little, both the front, you know, both those loops, and I'll pull it through, single crochet, and then I'm going to go right back into that same hole. The trick to this yarn is to kind of feel your way with the stitches. So I'm going to feel, and I'm going to feel for the next little knot or next little bump there. You can kind of see it. It is kind of hard to work with though. So we're going to put 2 single crochet in this stitch. Once you put one in, and you just stick it in the same spot. And then we're going to go single crochet, 2 single crochets in the 3rd stitch, 2 in the 4th stitch, 2 in the 5th, and 2 in the 6th. And then at this point, this is where I put my stitch marker in. Now, if you're really struggling with the finding, this particular yarn and finding the where your stitches are, you can use your regular yarn, worsted weight, the stuff you buy, Red Heart Super Saver. It's going to end up looking like this though. So this is exactly the same pattern, but this is what happens with the different size yarn. And if you do use a different yarn, you're just going to want to use probably a size H or even a G hook. So the next size down, this is I, so the next size down or 2 sizes down. So, all right, we're ready for round 3, and that's going to be a 1 single crochet and then an increase. Increase just means 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So we're going to do 1 single crochet in that stitch, and then we're going to do 2 in the next one. So there's 1 and 2. We're going to do 1 single crochet and then 2. There's 1, 2. And you're just looking for the little V that's running around the top. So actually it's kind of turns down a little bit. There's 1, 2, there's 1, 2 in the next one, 1, and now we're running into the stitch marker. So we're just going to take it out because that was our last stitch. And we're going to do 2 in that stitch. Last stitch in that row, I mean. We're ready for round 4, and that is just, we're just building up. We're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. So that means 1 single crochet in that stitch, 1 in the next one, and then your increase is just 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Hopefully that's starting to make sense. I'm going to do 1 more and then fast forward. So 1 in the next stitch, 1 in the next stitch, and then 2 in the next. Hopefully that makes sense. I'll go ahead and meet you at the stitch marker. Okay, we're on our last little group of 2 single crochet and an increase. So that's 1 in that stitch, 1 in the next stitch, and then we run into our stitch marker, so we're going to take that out. We're going to do 2 in that stitch, and we're going to put our stitch marker back in to our last stitch, and we are ready for rounds 5 and 6. They're the same. They're going to be 1 single crochet in each stitch, or a total of 24 single crochets. So you're just going to go 1 in each stitch. At this point, you got some pretty good curl going, so you might be able, I like to just turn it this way and work this way, and then my stitches are easier for me to pick up and a little easier probably to see for you guys. You can see every little hump there has got 2 loops on top of it, and you're just going right through that little space that's made in there. So we're going to do a single crochet all the way around, and then meet your stitch marker and move your stitch marker up 1, and then go ahead and do a single crochet all the way around for round 6 as well, and I'll meet you back at the end at the stitch marker. Okay, we are at the end of round 6. So we did 2 rounds. Take that out. Put it back in. So in this next round, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to be working in the front loops only. So you have your stitch. We've been going through both of them, both loops, but instead of that, we're just going to go through the front loop. So how that looks is you're going to go and just pick up 1, and we're going to do a single crochet 3 times. So in the next one, we're going to do single crochet. We're just picking up the front loop. We're not picking up the back loop. We're just picking up the front loop. And then we are going to, after we do 3 in the 1 single crochet in the 3 stitches, we are going to do 2 single crochet in the 4th stitch in the row, and then we're going to do 3 more single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to do 2 single crochet in the next stitch. And we're working in those front loops only. Last one. There's 1, 2, 3. We're ready to move gotta move our stitch marker. We're gonna do 2 in the last one. And then our last row for the cap is going to be 4 single crochet and an increase. So we're just going to do, we're back to going through both of the loops. We don't have to worry about doing just the front loops. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the 5th stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Should have that down by now, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, off that round, and I'll meet you at stitch marker. All right, we're almost at the last one. We're almost on the last at the end of this row. I just did my 2 in the same one, and now I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and on this last one, instead of actually doing 2 single crochets in that very last stitch, I'm just going to do 1 in the last one, and then to finish off, I'm just going to do a slip stitch. So you're going to pull it up like you're going to do a single crochet, and then instead of yarning over, you're just going to pull it through like that, and that's going to kind of give it a flatten that out. So then you just pull that up a little bit, 3 or 3.5 inches, leaving enough room for it to tuck it into the work when we're done, and then just kind of give that a little tug. We'll finish that off when we do the detail work at the end. So we're gonna switch our yarn. We're ready for the white. We're ready for the stem. So remember that funky row we did that, well, how can you forget, right? That we worked in the front loops only. When we did that, we created this little raised, the back loops are like this little raised row, and that's going to make it easier for us to get in there, and that's where that's the row that this is going to go in. And so I'm just going to show you. It's, again, this yarn isn't great for seeing where your stitches are, but so that's where, you know, maybe trying one with just the regular kind of yarn gives you an idea to practice. So I'm just kind of showing you where all the stitches are, and you can see where they're all at. Just kind of, there's going to be a stitch at the top of every one of those little ridges. So let's get started. For the first one, we're going to start where we left off, back here. It's not a perfect circle because we're working in the rounds, right? So it's gonna, your last one, your first one is here of the row, and then your last one is here. So there's a little offset there, but that's okay. It'll blend right in. So we are going to just go right in there and pick that up, pull it through, leave a little to tie it off when we're done, and then we're going to do a chain. Just kind of tighten it. All right, and then you just work your way around in all those little humps. So it's a little, this yarn's pretty forgiving, so if you make a mistake, it's going to give you a little leeway. So got to the end, I'm going to count my stitches, see where we're at. So we're going to, this is our first, first little post is this is our first stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then I'm just going to count in groups of 3. So there's another 3 is 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. Next round, we're going to do 24 single crochets, and we're actually going to do this for the next 2 rounds. So we're just going to pick up that first one and get started doing 1 single crochet in each stitch. This is probably the easiest one because of the color change. You can see where the stitches are. At the end of the second round, take my stitch marker out. Oops. Move that out of the way. Put my stitch marker back in. And for round 12, we're going to do 4 single crochets and an increase. We're going to do that 4 times, and then we're going to have 3 spaces remaining, and we'll just do a single crochet to finish that round. So we're going to do it 1 in that one, 1 in the next one, 1 in the third one, 1 in the fourth, and then 2 in the fifth. So that's our 4 single crochets and an increase. Do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 in each one, and then in the fifth one, 2. All right, do that the rest of the way around. I'll meet you at the stitch marker. So I just did the 2 single crochets in the last stitch, and so this is where I have a few odd stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and we are ready for round 13 and 14. And so for these rows, we're just going to do a single crochet in each stitch for 2 rounds. And so you're going to have 27 stitches, but if you have 26 or if you have 28, don't fret, just keep going. So just do 2 rounds, and once you get to the end of the second round, I'll meet you at that stitch marker. So we are ready then for round 15, which is going to be 27 stitches in the back loops only. So we did the crazy round before where we did the front loops. There's both the loops. We're going to do, instead of the front loops, we're going to do the back loop this time. So the back loop. So you're just going to go right in between the front and the back, go down and pick up the back loop, pull through, and do a single crochet. And then you're just going to go down in between the front and the back, pull through, single crochet. So there's your 2, front and the back, pull through. And as you're doing that, you can see that that a little ridge is happening right there. You'll see what that's going to be where our mushroom, the bottom of the stem turns under. So you are just grabbing the back loop, do a single crochet, and just doing that all the way around. And I will meet you at the end. Okay, we're getting near the end. I forgot to put my stitch marker back in, but it's easy enough to tell because you can see the little raised loop right there. That's where, that was our first, where we did the back loop only. So we got a couple more here to do. So back loop only. We're getting really close. Close enough. All right. So the next row, we are actually going to start decreasing. So we're going to kind of start closing it up. I am going to do insert the eyes right now. So I'm just going to put that stitch marker right there in on my work so that doesn't get pulled out. And my eyes over here. We'll pull the cap down so we gotta make sure we are looking at it right. We got our, this is our back, so we're gonna put it in the front and just kind of center it. And then I'm just gonna use this guy to kind of eyeball it. Get it? And so we have this, here's our little ridge from our doing our back loops only, and so we're going to go up from that 2 rows, and our eye is going to be between this 2 and the second and the third row from that little edge. So here's our little edge, and we're going to go up 2, so it's going to be between this row and this row. We'll put him there, put both of them in just to make sure it looks good. And we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty good, but I think I'm going to go just a little bit further. Yeah. So we're just gonna go eye to eye. Yeah, I like it. Oh, doesn't have to be perfect. And we're going to do 1 more row, and then we're going to do some stuffing. So this row we're going to do a single crochet and a decrease all the way around. So we're working in both loops again. So we do a single crochet. I'm going to go ahead and put a stitch marker in. Doesn't have to be exact. And then we're going to do a decrease. So what that is we're going to pick up the front loop only. So not both of them. We're not picking up both. We're just going to pick up the front loop, and then we're going to go into the both loops of the next stitch. We're going to pull our yarn through. Now we have 3 loops on the stitch. On the hook. I can't talk today. And then we're going to pull it through all 3. So I'll do that again a couple of times. So our next stitch is right here. We're going to go through the front loop, and then we're going to go through both loops of the next stitch. We're going to pull it through and pull up through all 3 loops on the hook. So we're decreasing, we're getting it, closing things up. Move that out of the way. So you're going to go into the front loop, then you're going to go through both loops of the next stitch, pull it through all 3. Okay, We're going to go through the next stitch, front loop, both loops of the next stitch, pull it up. Once we get to the end of this round, we are going to add some stuffing. All right. So I'm trying to pull that up, put my stitch marker on there so it doesn't go back through while we're working with it. We're going to add some stuffing. So stuff generously, but not too firm. And one more. Get rid of that. Now we're just pretty much, the goal is to close it up. So we're going to do a decrease without a single crochet for the next couple of rounds. We don't need a stitch marker anymore because, well, the idea is just to get it closed. So we are here. We're going to do a decrease, which is just the front loop and the next stitch. Pull it through all three. Go through the front loop of the next stitch. Go through both loops. Pull it through. Front loop, both loops, pull it through. Okay, let me get my hand out of the way. Front loop, both loops. And then now we have this hole about the size of a nickel or a dime. And we're gonna just pull that up about 5-6 inches. Leave a little bit of room to cinch the hole closed. Pull back. All right. And so to do that, we're going to thread our needle. And here's our last stitch. So then we're going to go into the next stitch. And we're going to do that about 5 times. Go into the next stitch. And the next stitch. Doesn't really matter if you're doing both stitches or just a single. Probably, I don't know. Don't really know if it matters. I go through both. So you do that about 5 or 6 times, and so then you can just, this is where the magic happens. You can just kind of pull it, and it's going to cinch that closed. And then just to give it a little extra reinforcement, we're just going to kind of go in and slip through the stitches, going around in a circle still. If it doesn't want to go in, it doesn't have to go in, right? Where'd we go? There we are. All right, that's good enough. So then I'm just gonna go and do like, go backwards one, just a little reinforcement. And then we're gonna hide the tail by just going in and then just come out. I usually try to come out in the same color. And as you're going through, it'll come off of your needle. Be gentle. And then you have this little tail. You can either tuck it in, but I just, for this one, I'm just going to cut it and then I'm going to throw it back in my stuffing, and it's going to go in the next one. So then when I give that a little tug, it's gone. All right, and then let's tuck this guy in. And then we're just going to bury it in the work. So we're just going to kind of bury it in the green. Going through, pull through gently. And then this is kind of gathered, so I'm just going to pull it out. Voila! Look at him. Oh, he's so cute. All right, we're almost done. Don't give up yet. We need a piece of our black. And this is just cruel right here. Watch this. So I'm gonna move this cap back. I'm gonna start up here. Seems random for a mouth, doesn't it? But that's just where we're gonna hide our tail. I'm gonna come out right about there. It's like this far from the eye. I'll leave a little tail hanging out here. I'll come over here, like 2 stitches, and then come back right up through the same hole. Not too tight. And then I'm going to do that again. And then for this last one, we're going to go through here, but we're going to come back out up here. We're in the exact same little hole we went in. Pull gently, not too tight. And then you have these 2. We're going to tie them. Little double knot. And then, I didn't leave these very long. You can leave them longer if you want to work with it, or here's what I do. I just go back into that hole, insert my needle. I take these 2, put both of them in the needle. There it is. So you just got them both on the needle, and then you're just gonna head on up. It won't come out the other side. If it does, once you give it a little, move it back, it's just gonna go right back in. So there's this mouth. You can play with it a little bit. You can stick your needle in there and you can kind of pull it back up to shape it. So don't mess with it too much. And then we need our spots. So for that, we need a little bit more white. We're gonna go about, I don't know, about a couple feet. You don't want to short yourself. And then we want one more piece about 10 inches long or so. So there's that guy. We're going to set the guy to the side. And you can do them however randomly you want to do them. Random is something that I'm not very good at. I'm kind of a symmetrical kind of person, so, but here we go. Okay, I'm going to start in the back, and I'm going to start right in here in the white, and then just kind of come up through somewhere. And then we're going to leave a little tail to tie off on, because we're going to come back to that. And for this one, I think we'll go, you're just going to go about 2 stitches apart. Then you're going to come back up through that same one where you came in. Oops. And then we're going to go back in there, and then we're going to go head off over somewhere else. And our last one, we're going to head back over. We're just heading back out right about to where we started. Uh-oh. Pull gently. Didn't pull gently enough. I can just pull it back before I tie it. It's fuzzed out. All right. There we have our beginning and our end. Just gonna tie those together to tie it off. We're gonna tuck that in. So just gonna head on in. Oops, sorry if I'm getting off camera there. And we're just gonna come out the other side somewhere. Pull it gently, and if you pull right, it just goes right back in. So the secret there is on your yarn needle to just put just enough to get it to pull through and not fall off. So that makes sense. And then when you get to the other end, it slips off your needle easier. So, and then another thing that you can do is just kind of stuff it back in with this yarn. You can actually like stuff your whole finger in there if you want to. All right. Last thing we're going to do is give your, like, so the mushroom, it's kind of curved out going this way, and I want to give it a little indent. So it's going to look a little bit more flat. So that is what this piece is for. And I might have got that one a little short, but it'll still work. All right. Just going to go in the back. I'm going to go right through the bottom. Leave a little tail to tie it off. Here's where I came out. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go over to the side I'm just kind of making a little X right here. And I'm going to crisscross over. Yeah, sort of. Okay. And then I'm going to come back out over here. Pull in gently. And then if you tug those ends, see what happens? Kind of pulls it in. So tuck those last two tails in, and I think we're almost done. Okay, I'm gonna pull that back out. All right, voila, there he is. That's one big happy family. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks. Bye.